As I said, I'm a physician, not from the technical part, and I was invited to tell them about our journey from Zentyal to Nethserver in a medical institution. Unfortunately, our technician, our administrator, isn't with us today because of personal problems. I have to excuse him. So if it goes too technically, please don't ask me. Yeah? So I'm a little bit of the master brain of the organization, so that I say what I want in the institution. I have also my wife with me. She's the CEO of the company, and finally she decides where we're going to because she has the money, as usual. Okay, you know that. Okay, so. For this presentation, I tried something new. I'm probably sorry if it wasn't too good because it's not a PowerPoint or a presentation. It's something different.
We like bringing edge stuff.
Also open source, I'll tell you afterwards. Yeah? So first I want to introduce ourselves, what we are as a medical institution. You find us under this website, eager.info.at, and well, we're a bunch of people doing medicine from different parts. We're doctors, physicians, specialists, we are physiotherapists, we're psychologists, we're specialists in sports and training also in the institute. So quite a bunch of people from different spectrums of medical activities. Yeah, thank you. Yeah? And we all go into this institution, which is in the center, in the heart of Vienna, in Austria, directly in the city. And I want to tell you a little history. We started in 2005. It was an idea to keep all these professions, that was the word I was looking for, on the same level. Because usually people in the medical surrounding, normally the doctor is the primary and everybody is below. And we don't think that it's a good way of interacting in this field, because a physiotherapist has a very long education, as well as I do. Yeah? And he's a specialist in his field. So who I am to tell him what to do. Yeah? And so we did a construct to have them on the same level. And we started in 2005. We started it I was at this time as a Microsoft partner, and we started with Microsoft. Yeah? So we had a small business server, 2003 at this time, and Windows XP clients. And well, the XP clients were okay. It's a lot of work to keep them up to date, as everybody knows. And with the small business server 2003. And it was, after a few months, it became a mess. Because it wasn't stable, not at all. Yeah? Somebody else shaking their heads here. Yeah? So sooner or later, as I already was involved with Linux and open source, I was searching for an alternative. And our first alternative we found was SME. Yeah? Somehow lovely. Yeah? The surface was a little bit bulky, as everybody knows, yeah? But it was very, very stable. Yeah? And we loved that. And we really changed from small business server 2003 to SME, primarily 6, and we went up to 7.4, and then we got into troubles. Because as probably you know, there weren't any more upgrades. Yeah? And so we got into security problems. And especially in the field of health, we have to be very, very cautious with security. Yeah? So at this stage, we had to change to a new system with a better surface, and we came to Zentyal. Primary Zentyal 3.0, which was upgradable up to 3.2, and another time Same problem. Yeah? So even the upgrade to 3.4, I think, was the next version, yeah, wasn't possible directly. So we would have had to migrate the whole system. I can change to the other side if you want.
No, it's okay.
We have to change. And another problem, as you know, well, I know the definition, but that is still MT4 domain structure. Okay, back again.
That's the same. It's okay in the same part. It's okay.
So, and as you know, MT4 domain structures are quite vulnerable. So if something happens at the primary domain controller, you get into deep troubles. And so, first of all, our primary network structure. No? I'll take that afterwards. So, our network, primary, consists of, where's the?
Center.
We have high-speed internet access, which of course has a firewall in it, but we have an own firewall also because of security reasons. To the firewall is attached, of course, a switch. We do have also VLAN. We have an open VLAN and an internal VLAN at the institute. I didn't show that. And then we have, of course, the main server, which hosts, which is now the Nethserver, the user admin, the backup, the shares, hosts the mail server, MySQL server, the DC, and the DNS server. And we've also web servers at home too. One is a Ubuntu server, one is a Nethserver 6.9. One is hosting our future website. We're developing it there. And the other one is hosting now, just to play around, a medical record system, Open EMR. And the other one, our software we're using now, we stopped using now, is Odoo as a CRM ERP. That all goes in a structure of on a virtual system. So we have a VMware on the server, which hosts those servers virtually. And we also hosting there Windows terminal server. We need that because I'm going to tell you later. Then we have out some Ubuntu clients, which is a mess at the moment. We will talk about that. And with Windows 10 clients, we need the Windows clients because we have a lot of medical technical software, like for the spirometry or the ECG and so on. And as you know, it only works on Windows, which is a pity. Yeah? And for backup reasons, we have an external NAS, which is connected to the network, so the server writes its backups and also the web server to the NAS. And the NAS are some only on USB basis, some hard disks, which we're changing on a regular basis, so that always a backup is not at the institute for fire reasons or something like that. Yeah? So that's the main structure we do have, and we do, which is hosted now by our Nethserver. So we had this Zentyal server working there, and it was quite nice until we got into troubles. And it was on December 6th. On December 6th, where I put the post on the Nethserver community, and I was already looking around for a new solution because I knew we get into troubles like it on the SME, because there won't be a direct upgrade from the Zentyal we have to the next version, and we have to migrate anyhow. And so I was looking for a new system. And I found Nethserver because it was, at this time, so far as I knew, the only Linux system working with Active Directory, and the Active Directory really was working. So, most of the things we did on this thread, you know that all in the community with two other threads which are offsprings. One is the one with the with the Roman profiles, which is still in interest of us, which is still not working as we want to. And I don't remember, I think the other one is a Samba thing with the executives. I think that's solved already. But we solved it internally, hacking into the Nethserver directly at this time. So, what I'm going to do is telling you primary things that don't stand in those threads. So, we had a central, and on this central server we had, at this time, when it crashed, so what did crash? It was the primary domain controller, so we couldn't produce any new users, we could delete any users, and identification of the clients was only possible on clients where we had already logged in. Everything else didn't work anymore, so we had to change the server quite fast. And we had on the server an old DBase-based electronic medical record system. We had a new medical record system which consists of a MySQL backend and a front end which is Java, also on the share. Java because we do need special things in Austria for the public insurances. And there are only a few companies producing that, and this is the only company at the moment. No, there's now a second one, but just recently that's going on Java, and Java gives you the opportunity to use it on Linux as well, and not only on Windows. Then we had a lot of data shares. What does that mean? We're using shares, for instance, for administration, where we keep software on it, the medical software and things like that. We do have a share where we put all the medical findings. Most medical programs are producing PDFs, which are going into for documentation into the medical record system. We use that one. Then we have data share for a big sonographic database because I'm a specialist in cardiology, so we're storing CINA loops and pictures, and that's, as you know, a lot of data with the user accounts and the email accounts, and we all had to move that into full production. That was the challenge. So we had to move to Nethserver as we decided to go there, and primarily we thought we put up the Nethserver with all of everything as a primary domain controller, but we had the problem: you can't have two primary domain controllers in one address range. Yeah? So, as that would be with the, and we are talking really about gigabytes of data, we had to move, we had to think about something different, simpler. And so we decided to set up the Nethserver without the primary domain controller feature, and move the things part apart. So we first moved the data shares and the MySQL database. That's working. Then we extracted the mail accounts of all the users, and afterwards we shut down the central and converted the Nethserver to the primary domain controller, which gave us the opportunity to create the user accounts and play back the mail accounts and all the other domain-specific parts. We also made a backup of the user accounts. We also played them back. For the shares, we used rsync, which gave us the opportunity, because it was really huge data, especially the database of the pictures and scenes we had, that we could that in full production. Why the people were using it. So most of the data were moved to the production, and we only had to resynchronize at the end of the week, when nobody was working there, the rest of the data which changed during that time. Because everything otherwise would be needed days. And the MySQL database we moved on a client in between, where we installed MySQL Workbench, and it was very, very easy. Yeah? Got really fast. And then when the problem with extraction of the post of the mail accounts, and we used IMAP size. Do you know that probably? It's also a freeware to extract the data on an IMAP basis from the old server, store it here locally, and from here play it on the new server. So, finally, it worked quite well, and we really moved within 1 week. Without big troubles and without access problems in the next week. Okay, so of course there are little bit things still to do I want to have. We were already talking about rooming profiles, for instance, because we have the situation that not everybody always has the same working place at the institute. So the working places are changing. And I had a little talk with my wife yesterday. I think that's nice. But finally, what we have to think is the user. And what does the user want to have? And it's that what we have to provide as an administrator. And we have to provide as a programmer and designer of a software. So what the user wants is getting at his work into any computer and having all his stuff as he's used to. That's what he wants. And that is what we should provide. So a little bit of future thing, what we would need and we would like. So some kind of a wish list I was preparing. And we already had just recently a problem with updates. It was an upstream problem, we know. But you don't probably want to implement all updates at one moment. So I think there's more thinking about that we could probably individualize our update policy. Or I already was talking about ERP, CRM. That would be great, because what I'm thinking of, that Nethserver has the opportunity and possibility to be a big, small business server. So I was thinking, what do you need if you're creating a new business? You need a server system where you administer security, your users, but you also need programs. And it's really annoying as an administrator, so I'm a little bit involved in that, to administer all those clients. It's a lot of work. So as more simple the clients can be, the better it is. And a good working server, you just turn on and forget it. So web-based is a miracle word, I think. And the ERP and CRM is a possibility. And what is also would be interesting, what every company needs, is an office package. So a web-based office package would be also very interesting as a basic feature of a small business server. So that you don't have to buy, if it's Windows, or install or configure an office package on a Linux system or Apple system. So, finally, what's about other software? At the moment we are stuck with only the software that Nethserver provides as modules. Could there be an idea, a way of installing other software to Nethserver? Just ideas. So, you know that picture? So that's our wish list and thinking about the possibilities of Nethserver. And finally, I'll come to an end. I want thank you all for contributing and helping with this change, and still with the problems we sometimes have. And I really think it's a great community, and I thank you. Everything was said in your speech before, and I like it really to be in that community. I appreciate how you deal with each other, and it's really helpful and involving community and system. Thank you very much. And any questions?
How many accounts? How many accounts?
At the moment, we're hosting approximately 20 user accounts, and up and down about 20-25 machines. But we have a hybrid with Linux machines and Windows machines.
You want to ask a question?
Is there any focus on the GDPR regulations in the community? I mean, the idea comes from the fact that you are an Earth institution, so specifically for GDPR, the General Data Protection Act, that is going to be
European privacy rule that started in 2000.
It's a very
May
regulation.
2080 start the new privacy rule for the European European community.
Well, I didn't stick to that because I know how most of the physicians in Austria are working. Yeah? And we're very hard. Yeah? Most of the physicians in Austria do have internet. When they have internet access, they even don't use a firewall at the moment. Huh?
Great state of art.
I don't know how it's in Italy, but
Probably the same.
No.
Well, of course we have laws, and the European law is on top of it. That we have to.
It's very engaging as a law. So I think as a community there should be a focus on that.
Mm-hmm. But well, the community doesn't have. Well, in our setting, the community doesn't have